Tired of sitting home, gotta go somewhere where I won't feel alone. I know what's out there. I wish I could pick up the phone and call someone that's close to me. So far away now, I wish it could be the way it used to be, where we all just felt like having fun, just smoking and sharing. I miss drinking on the beach or parties in the backseat, motorcycles on one wheel. And I don't think I remember when we had so much fun. So I sit here contemplating all the days I've been gone. And I wish I didn't have to feel this way. It feels like forever since I had a little fun. Now I'm missing my home, but things will get better. And I don't think I remember when we had so much fun. So I sit here contemplating all the days I've been gone. I didn't have to feel this way. It feels like forever since I had a little fun. Now I'm missing my home, but things will get better. And I don't think I remember when we had so much fun. So I sit here contemplating all the days I've been gone.
Welcome to the Opportunity Marketplace. Today, I have the pleasure and honor to have a conversation with two of the biggest players in New York State agency authorities, and really have an in-depth conversation about the work that they're doing to bring opportunities to MWBEs. To my right, I have Eric. Eric, you want to introduce yourself?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, Jerome, thank you for having me today. My name is Eric Alamini. I am the Director of Supplier Relationship Management for the New York Power Authority. New York Power Authority is the largest state-owned electric utility in the country. And I have the honor of overseeing our supplier diversity programs and opportunities.
Excellent. Thank you, Eric. And then you all have heard from Michael before, so I know he doesn't need any introductions because their capital management program that MTA is doing is a game changer. But I'm going to have Michael introduce himself because I'm sure there are people online that have not heard Michael speak before. Michael?
Thank you, Jerome. My name is Michael Clay. I am the Senior Director of Procurement in the Opportunity Programs Group for the Dormitory Authority State of New York, better known as DASNY. We're a public authority located in New York State with offices in New York, Albany, Rochester, and Buffalo. We do financing and we do construction.
Excellent. Thank you, Michael. So, Eric, I think that most people who are sitting in the audience and those online are not aware of this unique partnership that ESD has with MTA. You just heard from Mr. Gardner, but also with NYPA and DASNY. I want to talk a little bit about that partnership before I turn it over to Eric to really give us more insight into the work that they're doing to bring real opportunities to MWBEs. So when I came on about 12 months ago, I knew that we were faced with some real challenges. And one of those challenges was, how do we leverage our relationship with the 97 agencies and authorities to bridge that gap, to make sure that we can meet not only customers where they are across the region, right? We have now, through a partnership with MTA, NYPA, and DASNY, will now be able to provide senior certification analysts across the state. And when I first brought that idea, you know, people didn't think it was possible. And so I think that my staff can contest that if it's not possible, we will make it possible, because we are passionate about the work we do for MWBEs. We're passionate about certification, which we understand is a pathway to opportunities. You just heard it here from Century, right? And so we want to remove barriers to those contracting opportunities, no matter what those barriers are, right? And so through that partnership, I actually reached out to MTA, NYPA, and DASNY, and I asked them, would they be willing to partner with us to really help us build capacity across the state? And their answer was?
Yes.
Yes.
And so as a result, I'm excited to announce that we will be placing senior certification analysts across the state. And let me tell you what that will mean for all of you. You will now have someone in your region that knows your business. You will have someone in your region that you can pick up the phone and call, or walk into the office and sit down and talk to. Now, I know that sounds, you know, as if it should have been happening all along, right? We recognize that the demand for certification hasn't decreased, it has only increased. And so we want to really meet businesses where they are. And so I just want to personally thank NYPA, DASNY, and MTA for their partnership and innovating forward. I know that's the theme of the conference, but let's get into the opportunities. Eric, talk to me a little bit about the opportunities in the work that you are doing at NYPA.
Absolutely. So first of all, you're right. It is a partnership. It's been a long journey. You have ambitious goals, obviously, and we want to be there right next to you to kind of support it. And so in order to kind of describe the opportunities, I need to kind of give a background in terms of, you know, who we are and where the work is. So the Power Authority has 16 generating facilities all throughout New York State. We have a power facility in the Messina area against the St. Lawrence River. We also have a power generating facility at Niagara Falls. We also have a number of facilities in the central New York, as well as in downstate in Queens. That's one aspect. The other aspect is that we assumed ownership of the Canal System Corporation. So there's a lot of work for us to be able to implement at each of our facilities to make sure that they run on time, they provide low-cost power for the state of New York, they're efficient, reliable, et cetera. And so what's important is for us to engage MWBE suppliers to help us meet a lot of the work that we have in those areas. The challenge, obviously, is the fact that, you know, there may be certain work that we're performing that may be in rural areas. So how do we partner with ESD to help us identify diverse firms, MWBE firms, to come where we are, where the work is? So if we can work with your analysts in order to identify opportunities, the type of work that we need, but ultimately get them certified so that way they're ready for the work that comes about, then that's a great partnership at the end of the day.
Excellent. I think Eric said it best, right? For those of you who are sitting out there in the audience and who have really turned on your computers to join us virtually, he said it, right? Identify the agencies and the opportunities, and then you need to prepare. Make sure you are prepared with your capability statements. Make sure you have positioned yourself to present your business and your experience. And then you have to connect. And so, Eric, I think you said it best. And so we have a pro sitting next to us. When we think about innovating forward, this gentleman next to me comes to mind. I didn't know Michael, 12 months ago when I joined ESD. And I got to know Michael in a real way. Because when Michael reached out to me and talked to me about this capital management program, and I didn't really understand what he was talking about. And he said, Jerome, we're going to address two of the most systemic challenges for MWBEs. And I looked at Michael and I said, so are you talking about access to capital? And you're talking about not only access to capital, if you have a score of less than 550, they're willing to work with you. And I said, and you're going to deal with this whole issue around surety bonds and making sure that MWBEs can position themselves with the insurance that is required to do some of these projects. And I said, call me when you have the program in place. And I'm excited to say that Michael did call me. And he said, the program is in place. Michael, talk to us a little bit about this program and why is this so important for MWBEs, and how were you able to do what no one else has been able to do when all of us knew what the problem was?
Well,
what's
Jerome,
your secret, Michael?
It's like McDonald's with the Big Mac. I can't tell you the sauce. But first of all, thank you for having us on. This forum was great. Construction has always had, and it is not just an MWBE issue, it is a construction issue. Most small businesses start out as subcontractors and they stay that way because there's a real concrete ceiling over their heads in order for them to progress. And they can't progress because of size, capital access, getting access to surety bonding, back office, because typically most firms are first-generational firms that are M&Ws. And as a first-generational firm, you have an individual, a man or a woman, who is an expert in their given trade. However, they, in most cases, do not have an MBA. They don't have an advanced degree. They're not accountants, so they don't manage the back office as well as they could and as well as they should. So we took a look at that, and we kind of learned through our surety bond program, which I started in 2009, and we learned some lessons from that. But the surety bond training program that we had did not provide access to capital, because at the point that we started the program, we're, as an agency, public authority, we're not allowed to loan money. So we began to look at that, and you ask about the how. Well, one of the things I had to do was to make sure that I engaged a consultant who would help manage this piece for us.
So you outsourced.
So I outsourced that. I did a procurement where I selected a firm, the K-Mite Group, a certified MBE licensed insurance broker in 48 states, but who has specialized over the past 15 to 20 years in working with minority and women-owned businesses for surety bonding. Then we put the component together, well, where are we getting the capital access? You just heard me state, I can't loan money no matter how much money DASNY has or doesn't have. So then I used leverage relationships. The previous executive director, vice president of the MWBE program for Empire State Development was Ms. Valerie White, which I thank so much for her help and her guidance Valerie is now the the executive director of LISC, the Local Initiative Support Corporation, the New York City office. So I approached Valerie actually before she transitioned out of her ESD position and said, hey, I'm working on something. And like you, it took me 2 years to implement this program. So while Valerie was in, I said, listen, I'm working on something, and this is what I'm doing. And she said, okay, Michael, well, you know, whatever support ESD can give, we certainly will. Well, she transitioned out. She's now at LISC. So I said, Valerie, guess what? I'm here. I need your help. And Valerie said, okay, let's see if we can put it together. So I put Valerie and her team, and I met, it took us 9 months to forge that relationship, to dot all the I's and cross all the T's with LISC. And they saw this as a worthwhile investment. They've agreed to provide $10 million as a start, which is working capital for MWBEs working on DASNY projects. So DASNY subcontractors.
Whoa, hold on. What did you just say?
Made $10 million available for working on DASNY projects. Because right now, I know where you're going, right now, today, this program, the only program like this in the country, is available at DASNY. However, as I said to you a couple months ago, I said, Jerome, I fully expect that once the governor and her team and Hope and her team, which includes you, begin to see that this is a viable path forward, that this possibly, I can't guarantee anything, ladies and gentlemen, as you well know, Jerome, but I think this would be a program that would be appropriate to be available statewide.
Wow.
For, again, construction subcontractors working on public work. Because, Jerome, you've heard in your 12 months, and you knew before you came here, that, again, one of the biggest issues that confront small businesses in the construction space is lack of capital, surety bonding, back office. So this concept puts all of that together along with funds control to ensure that project-specific funding, you become a low bidder on a DASNY project, then there's funding available from week one for you to pay your staff, to order supplies and equipment, to then if you're working in New York City and you have to be working on a project labor agreement, benefit payments made to the union local that has jurisdiction over your work. You don't have to worry about any of that, because our concern was an MWBE, concentrate on the work. Do what you do best. Sending out invoices because you owe me money, paying invoices because you've bought materials, equipment, is not what most businesses do best.
Right, right.
They do best by executing as painters, electricians, plumbers, steel, iron workers. So let's allow them to do that. We'll assist them with a goal of them getting in-house eventually the type of systems that will enable them to monitor whether they're losing money, whether they're making money, and staying on track to earn the overhead and profit that they thought they were going to get when they submitted a bid. And the key piece of this, Jerome, is that they will have the opportunity to be prime bidders on one of the most robust construction opportunities in the state of New York today, and that's DASNY.
That is amazing. Absolutely, absolutely amazing. Our theme is innovating forward. This is the opportunity marketplace. This is the discussion. It's happening here now at the 2021 MWBE Forum. I am just so excited. I know that the next question that follows that, Michael and Eric, is this new infrastructure bill and Job Act that's coming with the billions of dollars that may be coming to New York.
Yep.
And how do MWBEs, given all of the resources that you all talked about, you know, we're doing our part, right? I talked about that we are mission focused on addressing the certification process. So ESD, we're stepping up, right? We're placing analysts across the region. We are looking at a new decentralized certification process that will help streamline the process. The anecdotal data that we're seeing through that is tremendous. We're starting to see that with partnerships, most things are possible. And so talk to us about, now you have your certification. Now there are opportunities out there, right?
Yep.
And so this new infrastructure bill, we got to be positioning MWBEs now. We can't wait until the money shows up. We know that that's then a little too late. We saw what happened with the pandemic, right? When agencies had to pivot and put out emergency funds, right? Most of those emergency funds did not go to MWBEs. Let's be very clear about that, right? And so now we have a unique opportunity. For the first time in the history of this country, we will have a JOB Act and an infrastructure bill that is not only going to create opportunities for MWBEs, but create jobs. Talk to me about, Eric, what NYPA is doing to position MWBEs to be right, ready, and able for those opportunities.
Well, Jerome, we at the Power Authority are investing $1 billion, $1 billion right now in our Western New York facilities.
Hold on, Eric, because I think, see, this is what happens at these conferences.
Absolutely.
People just throw numbers around, right? The governor last night mentioned that, we hit 30.51%, and she threw out $3 billion, real money to real people, to MWBEs. And then you just said $1 billion. Talk to me.
I will tell you. So in our Niagara facility, which is the largest hydro facility in the Northeast, we are investing $1 billion to make sure that that infrastructure stays operating and efficient for the next 40 years. And so with that being said, we have a 10-year plan to invest in the control rooms, in the hydro mechanical equipment, et cetera, which will also have access for MWBEs to bid and participate in that work. So not only are we doing that, that's one area. Another thing that we're doing is investing on transmission lines that are coming from North Country, Messina, all the way down to central New York to unclog the power that is coming from Canada down into central New York to bring it down to downstate. And so again, there's a lot of work from that perspective. We're going to be investing another $1 billion in that area. So again, that's prime opportunities for MWBEs if you're able to provide those goods and services in those areas for the next decade. So that's one aspect that I want to kind of share with you. And with that, I'm going to just jump off of the heels of my colleague over here, Michael Clay. He mentioned the surety bonding program. So I was watching you over the last couple of weeks telling us about this initiative. And I'll tell you right now, you're hearing it first. We are actually in the process of developing our own surety bonding program as well that should be launched by next summer.
Wow. Wow. You heard it here first at the MWBE 2021 forum. NYPA is now following one of the leaders in the industry as they innovate forward with creating their own surety bond program. Thank you so much. Thank you, Michael. We talk about certified and qualified MWBEs. And we know that there's over 9,200 MWBEs sitting on the directory. And, we hear it all the time, right? I can't find a qualified MWBE. And what do we tell them, Michael? You're looking the wrong place. If you can't find them, then you need to be looking at ESD's directory, right? Because we know that they exist. And so I know that we're running out of time, and I know that this conversation is just getting heated up, and I know that there is more to talk about in the work that you're doing. Give MWBEs advice, Michael, around, what do they need to be doing now to position themselves to be ready for these opportunities?
Jerome, there's something I've said for a number of years. Every contract isn't a good contract. Every contract isn't a good contract. As you are trying to, and I understand time is money for an entrepreneur. And so my suggestion has always been, what services do you offer, goods and services, and look at the 97 agencies and authorities throughout the state and look at what they do. And if there is a match with several of them, learn all you can about those agencies. So if DASNY is one of those agencies that we procure what you offer, or we offer contract opportunities where you can perform at, then you need to learn everything you can about DASNY, how we pay, what's the procurement process, how do you participate? If it's professional services, what do we procure? Is it a letter of interest, or if it's all in one shot in terms of response to an RFP? Is it a qualifications-based selection? It's all those things that you need to, because in order for you to be effective, you need to know the rules of engagement for that particular firm, such as my example, DASNY, and how you're going to figure out how you're going to involve yourself. And this is all done by website. Everything, there's not one single one of these agencies that do not have how they do business on the website. So spend some time there. And then as you're looking at procuring, begin to look at each other. I know we're virtual, I know we're live, but there are MWBE partners in this room and online that you need to know, that you need to partner with. Because as you heard about the airport, as you hear about the infrastructure work that's coming down the pike that Jerome referenced, you may need to partner with another M or WBE to enhance your capabilities of executing on this work. And again, a lot of this work is going to be, in terms of the infrastructure, is going to be horizontal construction. But again, pick and choose where you can make the most opportunities. But the opportunities are here, ladies and gentlemen. I haven't seen, to be frank with you, this much money going to be available in the past 7 or 8 years. That was the last time this amount of construction, whether it was vertical or horizontal, was out there, whether it was the federal government, where there were capital projects being advanced. So please, as I said earlier today, and what Jerome just talked about, prepare today for tomorrow, because time is not going to be kind to you. And as I had a private conversation with Jerome, you know, these opportunities are going to be like the Amtrak train going south that Michael just got on, okay, to go back to New York City. It's going to pass you by. So please, position yourself. Learn all you can about the agencies and authorities that have opportunities. I'm not sure, Jerome, how much funding DASNY is going to be in a position to get, because we receive no federal funds directly. However, our clients do receive, and hopefully, some funding. And if so, I can assure you this, DASNY will do all that we can to maximize MWBE participation on any contract opportunities that we have. That is a commitment that I make, as well as our CEO makes, to every MWBE in the state.
Well, I'm speechless. I don't know about all of you, but the conversation that we just had about the work that NYPA is doing and DASNY is doing around creating real opportunity for MWBEs, you know, I think you heard it here first, and we're going to repeat it again. Identify that opportunity, make sure you are prepared and position yourself, and then connect with the 97 agencies and authorities. We have and have provided, as part of your mobile app experience through FeedLoop, you can click on there and see all of the agencies and authorities, connect with them through the opportunity marketplace, and identify who they are so you know who to reach out to. I just want to thank Eric, thank Michael. You know, Michael, I will never doubt you again. He did what I didn't think was possible. And so I just want to thank him so much for the work that you're doing at DASNY, Eric, the work you're doing at NYPA, and let's give them a round of applause.